Hello, everybody. How are y'all doing? Just getting this chat thing. There we go. If anybody pops in the chat, we can get things going. So, Texas win. Probably, not the best win possible. Not the best way, but at the end of the day, I've seen enough that I'm not worried, but there's possible causes for concern. One area that I'm not worried about right now, and until we get a check on, I'll just put that away. One area that I'm really not worried about at all right now is the defensive line, interior defensive line. Like that's, I know like during camp it was kind of okay. Well, the offensive line is struggling, interior specifically. Uh, and I shouldn't say the offensive line, the interior offensive line was struggling, and defensive line, the defense was getting their way versus the offense in camp. And it was like, well, is this because it's a really good offense or a really good defense, or is it just a bad offensive line? Well, it turns out both are true. Both things are true. And I'm not saying it's a really bad offensive line, interior offensive line, but I mean, let's be honest. They were missing simple stunts. You got to pick, like, if you. I just don't know what else to say other than Rice and Wyoming are probably the easiest gets on the schedule outside of Iowa State. So, and we're going into one of the hardest games that we have this next week. So, and I promise you, if you can't pick up a simple stunt versus Rice, and you can't get that remedied, next week's going to be a problem. And next week could by all means end up being just a defensive battle, 100%. But we're not talking about next week. We're talking about the Rice post game thoughts. First thought immediately is get rid of that damn turf. I rip the turf out. I promise you, CDC. If you somehow watch the CDC, I will go get my X-Acto blade and I will go rip it out myself. I'm joking, but because that's a lot of work. But yeah, get rid of it. We need grass in. Like it's just. I know I'm not. It's just from the injuries to slipping and all that. It's just get rid of it. It has doesn't belong on a football field whatsoever. You could even argue it doesn't belong on a baseball field. Vernon Broughton. I'm sorry. I've been on Twitter yelling his name, but I haven't been on here yelling his name to y'all. I should have been doing that. Vernon Broughton is the dude. He is that dude. I'm probably a little bit overselling it, but I mean T'Vondre Sweat. I certainly was yelling his name everywhere, from every mountaintop I could find. I was screaming his name, along with Jonathan Brooks. This defensive secondary is legit. Derek Williams, he's a guy that I think is going to be very special. He's immediately popping off. Anthony Hill as well had a really good game. David Benda, I think he did a really good job of recognizing things when they appeared. Like if you actually notice, he talked about the play. He actually got burned on the play, but then he made up for it immediately after. Well, what happened was he talked about how he saw something that the offense was doing, a certain thing that the offense was doing. I'm blanking off the top of my head. I've been a long day, but he goes and he recognizes that, and he says, "You know what? If I see that again, I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna go full blast because I'm gonna be free." And lo and behold, what happens next play? It's same thing. Boom, hits the gas, and he has a great play. So those are the things, the cerebral parts of the game that you want to see from these football players, especially on the defense, because at the end of the day, defense is what's going to win championships, but the offense needs to perform better in order for us to get there. I don't know what else to say other than the center cannot be having a false start. It's just as simple as that. I mean, I don't want to talk bad about somebody, but it was an issue in the spring game of all things, and then now here. I mean, it's not something that inspires confidence, and it probably is something to show why Kyle Flood has been having position battles. There's been a lot of rumors about, hey, Kyle Flood wants to try and get get a battle going at that center position, and then same with the guards. The guards, I mean, it's just the interior offensive line. I just can't reiterate this enough. You're going to have to be able to handle stunts. But, and I don't want to harp on it too bad. At the end of the day, our running backs they were able to rush. I speaking of the thumbnail that I just made over here, Jaden Blue, yes, yes, Jaden Blue is looking nice. If you go to my Twitter, you can find the every rush. He had 10 rushes. 55 yards off the top of my head, 5.5 yards per rush. And these were meaningful carries, in my opinion. I mean, this was not the Rice game and I've been telling people that this is a good Rice team by Rice's standards, but at the end of the day, Texas should have been, like I said, if Texas wants to be where we're at, then we should be able to beat these teams easily. But Jaden Blue, he was looking nice. He's a guy that has speed. He's a guy that has hands. We didn't even use his hands today. I'm not worried about Jonathan Brooks' hands. If you heard Fanatic Perspective, he had a great take on this. He was talking about, hey, I would be worried about it if it were like a repetitive issue that's happened in the past. Jonathan Brooks hasn't caught a lot of passes, but I mean, when he has, it's very little that I think that's actually his first drop, to be honest. I'm just, like I said, I'm going off the top of my head right now. But it's just, there's things to work on, like the deep ball. I don't know what's going on with Quinn Ewers. Part of me wonders if it's a practice thing. Like, is he a guy that's and specifically talking about the deep ball, is he a guy that can hit it in the practice, but when it comes down to game time, he struggles with it? That's my curiosity. I mean, they were consistently underthrown today. He did show some ability to move with his legs. Like I said, the turf that sucked. The turf monster got him. Here, hold on. Nash, live your content thing. Yeah. I don't feel like I was lied to. I mean, I think that this is a very talented team, and I think that they still can do a lot of great things. I'm not going to sit here and start, just because we had a game that really... And at the end of the day, this could be as simple as that they just maybe were overlooking Rice. Maybe they've been sitting there preparing for Alabama so much, they're just mentally already playing Alabama, So that could be a possibility, but only time will tell that one. But I'll say this: at the end of the day, this is it still is from what we've seen so far. Okay, let's just go ahead and look at the Big 12 schedule. Where are we at? Oh, why am I not able to find my schedule? Oh, okay. This is not cool. I swear it got rid of my... Wow, I got rid of my schedule. How did I delete my schedule? This is embarrassing. Okay. Probably just lost every single viewer doing this. But, so going and looking at the schedule. Texas, we got, and we're looking at Big 12 specifically. Okay. We got Baylor, Kansas, Oklahoma, Houston, BYU, Kansas State, TCU, Iowa State, and Texas Tech. Okay. Texas Tech didn't look too great week one. I mean, hey, we didn't look that great week one. But, and you know what? You could honestly use the same excuse I'm not saying that's the reason why we did so bad. But I'm just saying that could end up being a possibility. At Texas Tech, for all we know, they could be sitting there looking forward to, they could really be trying to hone in on their game plan for Oregon, and then they just completely got caught off guard by Wyoming. And I think this actually serves Texas' benefit because I'll say right now, it is a major indictment if we lose to Wyoming now. Like, Wyoming has put themselves on the radar now. There's no going to be, Wyoming, holy cow, they're actually a really good team, and they came out of nowhere. Big 12 runs through Lubbock. No, it doesn't. It will, the sad Big 12, no, it won't. It'll run through Dallas or Houston. But so, you look at a lot of the teams that we end up playing in the Big 12, not a lot of great week one performances. Oklahoma did look good. Complete opposite of what I mean. Now, let's also be honest. I'm just mainly talking crap when I'm talking about Oklahoma. I have a sign that says, "Oh, you sucks" over there. But they did look good. Let me see. That I was only able to catch the end of the Wyoming game too, but that was actually a good, like, fun game to be able to watch after doing all the cut ups and all that stuff. And speaking of the cut ups, this defensive backfield, that was probably my favorite part of doing the cut ups. This defensive backfield is legit. Multiple interceptions. Jalen Ford. And I have a note about Jalen Ford to get to in a second. But, I mean, Jahdae Barron, he was out there, like, trying to kill dudes. Michael Taft was literally trying to murder somebody. He tried to murder McCaffrey live on TV. Probably concussed. Hell of a catch, by the way. To be able to hold on to that ball, whew, that was a hard hit. But Catalan was looking nice. Like I said, Derek Williams is looking very nice. I think Derek Williams is a guy that, as he gets more refined, is going to end up being a very good football player on the 40 acres. Austin Jordan. Hey, last year, you want to talk about a transformation. The dude went from playing cornerback, letting up a slant, and just looking a lot of fans were, including me, maybe a little bit. Hey, Austin Jordan, man, oh man, that's bad. This is terrible. It's our second string. He's not, we need to get some new corners in here. Hey, yeah, he was doing well. And another guy that I think is able to possibly step up if we need him to, but he's in the third string level, so it's going to be damn near impossible for him to, with the way that we're rotating these cornerbacks. Like, we have legit rotations of cornerbacks. I look at it, I don't look at it as a 2 deep. I look at it as a 1A deep and a 1B deep at cornerback. You have 2 guys that play with each other, they rotate out, another 2 guys come in. And it's just like the amount of talent that's in that defensive back room is just absolutely disgusting. I mean, I thought about the fact that, like, Jalen Gilbo was sitting on the sideline a good amount. It just really, like, stunk in, like, how talented we are back there. and honestly, cornerback is one of those positions where if you don't notice a guy that much, like unless you're looking for it, unless you don't notice him, if you don't notice him, he's probably doing a pretty good job covering his wide receivers. And I felt that way about Ryan Watts. Terrence Brooks had some nice pass. He had a nice pass breakup. Malik Muhammad was looking nice. Malik Muhammad is going to be a very special football player along with Derek Williams. I mean, like the young freshman football players, defensive backs. This is it's something that's nice to think about. I mean, next year we're gonna have Terrence Brooks as a junior and these others as sophomores. And I don't want to sit here and think about next year too much, but it's just the talent's here. Jaron Thompson, he had to sit out a little bit the first quarter for a team issue. Don't know what team role he broke. Don't even care. He served his punishment. Did the crime. Did the time. Move on. I'll be honest. I wasn't looking too much, but I didn't notice them too much. They weren't passing the ball well either. I did notice him. There was one play that I noticed, and he did a very good job of. And it actually, I think it led to a sack. And it was like a tight end kind of, a little dump off, not screen, but a little, oh shit, I'm in trouble. I need to get rid of the ball. Dump pass. And Jaron Thompson saw it, came up, stepped up, and made the quarterback, hey, I can't throw that ball. Not today. Cannot throw that ball. But, like I said, I wanted to talk about Jalen Ford. Something that I noticed about Jalen Ford, and I just want to confirm this as I'm talking about this, is if you look at his interceptions from last year, like Jalen Ford is well known, had a great year last year with interceptions. I need to kind of flip this so that my face doesn't get all miscellaneous defense. No. Oh, interceptions. Okay, there we go. Game log. No. Split stats. Nope. Interceptions. 2022. Jalen Ford. Yeah, it's got the game log right here. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so it's interceptions. Interception against Iowa State. That's our 7th game of the year. Okay? Then 9th game of the year against Kansas State. 11th game of the year against Kansas. 12th game of the year against Baylor. So 3 of 4 interceptions were on the back quarter. 4 of them, all 4 interceptions from last year were on the back 9. If you go to, let me see if forced fumbles. Forced fumble against Kansas State. Now, most of his forced fumbles were early on in the year, but PBU as well. Only one PBU before the first half, and then one PBU at the second half. But he was a better defender in the second half of the year. And my entire point to saying all that is that I wasn't concerned, but I was interested and intrigued to see what would happen with Jalen Ford. I wondered if he was going to continue to play at that level that he was. I mean, he ended the year playing at a Derek Johnson level. Those 3 interceptions on the back quarter in the last 5 games, but last 4 games of the regular season, that earned him that Derek Johnson level reputation. Without the interceptions, hey, it was a really great linebacker year, but you can't put him next to Derek Johnson. No way. But those stats, you add those interceptions in, certainly now you can add him next to Derek Johnson. That's a season that's next to Derek Johnson. But for him to continue that in game 1, I mean, he damn near palmed that ball. Was able to tip it, stay with it, pull it in, and go make a play off it. I'm really high on Jalen Ford, as you should be. I'm I'm feeling confident about David Benda because even if he had some issues, I think that he's a cerebral enough guy. He's a senior. He's been in the program a while. So that should be expected. I think that he could be there are times where you might see him this year where somebody might out athleticism him. They might out athlete him. But at the end of the day, I don't think that's going to happen often. And I think the mistakes, if they do come, they're going to come. They're going to be few because I think he's the type of guy that's going to be able to learn from the mistake and not make them again. At least I'm hoping so. Xavier Worthy, a lot of people need to line up and eat crow on Xavier Worthy. He was absolutely great today. Catching balls, tracking well. Really doing a good job. There was a catch that he should have had. It's taken away. I don't know how you take it away. I mean, you need indisputable evidence, and the indisputable. I mean, there was no indisputable evidence on this, and I just lost 2 viewers talking about praising Xavier Worthy. Now you know why. I'm a Worthy fan. Y'all are gonna have to deal with it, okay? But I don't know how you can change a call when. I mean, I don't know if there's indisputable evidence to say that he caught the ball. But I can say surely there was not indisputable evidence that you could say he didn't catch the ball. At least I didn't see the angle. I didn't get that angle. And they didn't share it with us. But, and I do not want to even go down this area of the refs are fixing against Texas the fixes, and I don't want to hear that. I really don't. I've heard it too much. I'm like, no. I understand. Look, I will give it to y'all. If there is a blatant call, like if it is blatant that there's a fix in, okay? Sure. Bitch about it all you want. Whine, everything. But it's just let's not be that fan base that's out there talking about whining about the refs before it even happens, because now we're just setting ourselves up to be able to have the excuse when it happens, when the ball bounces a different way, or there's a controversial call, and I don't like that. I don't want to be that fan base. I'm certainly not going to be that guy. Now, I honestly think the issue with the Big 12 refs is they're just incompetent. I don't think they're held to. I think the Big 12 didn't care about getting calls right, so the refs weren't punished. And if you don't punish the refs for making a bad call, they're going to continue to do that because there's no incentive for them to not do so. Now, Quinn Ewers, a lot of people were upset about Quinn Ewers, his deep ball. I mentioned off the top that it needs to get better. What's going up with it? Is he a practice guy or not? Well, when you get to the intermediate level throws and everything down below, no, he is not just a practice guy. He is a legit assassin that is extremely accurate. I mean, you saw him earhole Jatavian Sanders. Early on, he had a ball that it was probably... if you subscribe to the belief that if a ball hits your two hands that you need to catch the ball, Sanders should have caught the ball and it's a drop. It was a bad pass from Worthy, but outside of those 5 passes, if you take away 5 passes from Quinn Ewers, that's 19 for 25. That's a good day. So if we're able to just hit a couple of these deep balls, just get that figured out. I mean, he certainly has the arm for it. There's no doubting that. And yeah, I mean, I don't we just need to win to the point. Like I said earlier, these teams they didn't have a great week 1. This defense should be, if they're playing this way week 1 against these lower level teams, our defense, the way that it's looking, we should be able to win just based off that. We should. I mean, it's not, the Big 12 isn't looking strong this year after week 1. Baylor losing to Texas State. I almost said Texas Tech, but Texas State. It's wild. I don't think I've seen a week as bad as this for a conference out the gate. I don't think Malik Murphy needs to come in as our quarterback yet. He throws some missiles, absolute, just darts. And then another thing that I want to talk about was Jonathan Brooks and his contact balance. That dude, Jonathan Brooks is legit. Now, I still have my doubts about him running in short yardage scenarios. And I actually think that Jaden Blue can fill that role of the short yardage back. I do. He looked good in that today. And this is not to say that Jonathan Brooks cannot get yards after contact, because he certainly can. He gets it quite frequently, actually. But Jaden Blue was just looking. He was like when push came to shove, he shoved. He shoved. I can't get over that enough. He was looking nice. He showed the vision that you want to see in a running back. I mentioned he's got the speed that you want in a running back. He's got hands. Nino's corner. He had a great tweet on Jaden Blue earlier. I'm just pulling up. People love to forget Jaden Blue was the number 1 running back in the nation before he chose to forgo his high school senior season. Blue is a playmaker with great balance and vision, and that's what he showed today. He showed great vision and great balance today. The ability to go find the correct hole and then hit it hard. Like, that's the other thing that I want to see out of a running back. I want to see conviction. You make a decision, you go with it. You don't. There's a difference between waiting for a hole to be open and being patient, and pitter-pattering your feet and dancing too much. There's a difference. And when I wanted a decisive back, and he was decisive. And then, like I've mentioned multiple times now, his speed. When you add his speed in, he's able to get around the corner. He's able to take advantage of people. Now, Cedric Baxter, we need Cedric Baxter. Whip out the voodoo doll, okay? Start praying to Jobu. I don't know what you need to do. We need Cedric Baxter healthy. Absolutely do. We're going to need him versus Oklahoma. We're going to need him versus Alabama. We're going to need him in a lot of these big games. And not even just big games. Like, we're going to need him. He's a legit back. He showed it today. He was bowling over dudes. I mean, look, it wasn't an amazing outside that one big run that he got injured on. It was not an amazing day as far as like the box score goes. If you're trying to be like like me, sometimes the nerdy box score guy that's just looking at the box score, and that tells the whole story, because it doesn't tell the whole story. No, it doesn't even get close to telling the whole story. He was bowling over dudes, and he was actually looking nice. Now, Jonathan Brooks, I might have been looking a little bit nicer, in my opinion. But at the same time, we need an offensive line. We need that interior to shore up themselves for a guy like Jonathan Brooks to be able to play to his full potential. He's not the Bijan level guy that's going to be able, like, gets met in the backfield and going to be able to make a bunch of dudes miss. What he is an extremely good contact balance. He is It's the one thing that I always go back to. He's like a ballerina out there. It's literally like watching somebody dance out there. Jonathan Brooks. He gets the yards after contact. And speaking of Yak, Xavier Worthy, I mentioned y'all need to give him some crow. Yes, Xavier Worthy, his yards after catch. Woo! Nice. Hey, that is a welcome back. We will certainly take that back. And I'd love to see it versus Alabama next week. I'm very intrigued to see what happens versus Alabama and going into this Alabama week with how different everything is. It's just, yeah. I'm really curious to see. And I'm willing to take y'all's thoughts on the Rice game. It was. I wasn't concerned, like I said, but there were some points that are, hey, we need to emphasize these and we need to get these things squared away, because if we don't, yeah, it's a problem. And it's going to end up costing us losses later on down the road. But I think that's all going to be all tonight. I'm getting tummy growls. Haven't eaten since the breakfast taco time of the day. Be sure to go check out Texas Clips, my other YouTube channel. That's where all my every play videos are. So the Rice every play video is over there. I will drop a link down in the comments. Yeah. So, hope you all have a great day. Texas beats Rice. Hope for some good Cedric Baxter news. He has a clear answer. Yeah. If not, Jaden Blue. Carry us home. All right, everybody. Hope you all have a great day.